Evening, folks. This is Finn from Ethelmark. Today's tutorial is going to be the basic what I call intermediary shots. So basically it's your wrap shot, your leg wrap, your armpit, and the crosscut. I'm going to show different versions. You've got on your head wrap, you got, various different ways to be able to throw it. You got some guys that like to, use this as an example. So, that like to throw right below the ear. You got some guys though, that basically, especially the taller guys, really like this one. Or, it's a good one when you got someone on their knees. But basically kiss your chest. So their wrap shot goes all the way out, and comes back in. One of the people that, a good example, sorry, you can move the light a little bit. A good example of that is if you ever get a chance to see Count Andrew from Ethelmark. The lefty, but if he gets you in close, that's a shot that's the shot that makes him smile. Is basically, you're sitting there, he comes across, and basically he goes boop, against his chest. So on the wrap, when you're starting the wrap shot, for those who are watching this who are just beginning, you don't want to throw it close. What I mean close is like this. There's a lot of torque on the elbow here. So when you start, you want to go maybe more 45 degrees, then bring it back in. Especially on wrap shots, work on pel. Get your elbow and your arm used to that torque. You don't want to just go out there and start throwing wrap shots. What you're going to end up doing is, one, probably not throw it correctly, and you're going to end up doing this, where your arm is completely straight. So when you hit, you basically are hypering your arm. I had a very bad habit of it, especially when I was, especially leg shots, leg wraps. So make sure that you keep your elbow a little bit bent. I recommend for guys, 5'8", like my height and below, just work on this shot. Work on behind the ear. Because once you get from here to here, you can make this shot. That's your flat snap. That's your wrap. Especially for those guys that like the sword block like this. So where they throw a couple of those flat snaps like this, and then just right at the last second, go around it. You don't even have to do footwork on this. You're gonna sit there and roll it right by the block. Because they're gonna get used to that governor of stopping there, because that's all they have to do, and you went around it. But that's an advanced part of the wrap. Work yourself into it. For right now, for those beginners, 45 degree out, then bring it back. Leg wrap, I'm going to show my version of it, which is, I tend to come off my leg. It comes out, here, I basically call it the hidden, my first night called it the hidden hand wrap. I've always called it the hidden hand wrap since then. Primarily because, here's your shield. Let me grab my shield real quick. Okay, so you're set up, and then your hands here, whatever. It could be here, whatever. But when you throw it, it basically disappears. Especially on certain styles, it definitely disappears. But it also, once it gets below your shield level, when you throw the shot like this, you pretty much see the whole time. Once you dip it down, you lose sight of it. And the reason why I like this style more is because if you hit their shield, it's really, if it goes back down, there's no power whatsoever to it. So it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt them hitting them in the knee or bouncing off their calf. It's not going to hurt. This version, you hit their shield, it's only got one place to go. And it's usually at full speed and most likely at full power. And that's in their knee and their calf. Also, this shot is just easier to block. I mean, I can be here and catch it. Where this version, I've got to cut it off before it gets to it. And this version is easier to see. It's really one of the big things, is you can see this coming, you can see it coming. Even this, if you throw it close, like it's going to be a flat snap to the leg, but then they turn at the last end, at the last moment. Honestly, what's the difference trajectory about this? There's not really anything. The shield's going to pick up almost all of that. Where this, just so you know, that's a hard transition. I'll just be totally honest with you. He's going from here, going like it's going to be a flat snap to the leg, and then turning at the last end. It's a lot of torque also. So that's another one of those of work it. Practice it, go slow, get the muscles used to it. Be careful to always have a bend in your elbow so you're not hyping your arm. I tend to like doing, especially on a leg wrap, coming in close. The other reason why I like this shot, it keeps my shoulder behind my shield. It's still behind my defense. Where this one, your arm is coming out from your defense. Much easier for someone to snipe it. This, my arm never comes past my shield. Which is why I don't get arm a lot when I'm throwing it. Okay. Armpit. Two different variations. Let me put this down so you can see stuff. Okay, armpit. You've got one where your hand is this way, which is the more powerful of a shot. So you set it up. So, bam, come in, front side of the head, front blade, comes in, you can go, so you can go to armpit, and at the last second, you can pull it up into the face. I've done that a few times. If you see them hard block to here, where it leaves this, just pull your hand, and it slashes right into the face. The other version of this is what I call the thumb lead. So instead of this, where your hand's like this, your hand's like this. Your hand's basically going backwards. And it's designed more to come in like this. It's not as powerful of a shot, but what it does do is give you some different angles. It's almost like throwing a wrap to the offside body of someone. So what you can do is what I tend to do is I can throw this shot for the armpit. Unfortunately the camera's there. So I can throw for the armpit. I can throw off shoulder. I can even throw the head, which I do off and on. You come in here, and you just short stem it into their head. And it's a weird shot on someone, and it makes them notice it very quickly. Because it basically is with their neck. And that's not, they're used to this from an offside, they're not used to this from a shot. So, it's basically, for those who know the scorpion wrap, I mean, that's a scorpion wrap. You know, going over the sword side shoulder of someone. It's basically that, but you're going to this side of the head. This shot was designed for lefties. Well, designed against lefties. I'm not as tall as my first knight, but when he could throw it, it was designed to basically go past the head, past the offside of the head, and down the guy's spine. That's how it's designed. I'm not tall enough to make it work like that. So I basically changed it up to either. So I took it from that to be able to use against righties to go in the armpit. And then I started noticing I can hit the offside shoulder, I can hit the elbow, which I tend not to want to hit, but I hit off and on, especially when guys throw this, I'm trying to do this block where I fake here and then come in. Their arm, they go for that block, then I nail their elbow. Or this part, or I guess this part of their neck, you know, this area, and then head. Okay, crosscut. Let me change the camera angle a little bit here so you can actually see this better. Sorry about this. Actually need to angle this down a little bit. Technical difficulties. It's a little better. Okay. Crosscut. A couple different versions of this. You've got the one where you're going for more like for this leg, for the guys with left leg leads. So you're throwing it, and you're trying to drag that tip across and make it bite. That's what you're going for. Or you've got the hip chop, which is I don't throw this one that much because I have a tendency of doing that and backing out of the shot and dragging. I need to work on it more because it is a very good shot. I don't tend to throw it just because of my tendencies. What I do most is cross-cut and chop to their hip, to their open hip. I set it up usually with a double tap. So instead of this and this, which has you have a tendency to do that, of pulling through, I'll throw the offside first. So I'll go offside, step, yeah, you just totally missed. You just totally. So let me do. So offside, chop. According to who it is, I'm always trying to go for the hip. I've hit guys in the body before with it, especially if you get them totally, because you get so many guys that want to do the tip top. Well, part of my step is I take a step that way. So you know that's the first step. I take a step here, and then I'm coming back this way for the chop. So a lot of guys, their shoulders are going that way, and instead of the hip, I crush into the ribs. So it can be done. The reason why I go for the hip is because it's one of those angle points. So you've got something to dig the sword into. If you hit the thigh, there's a very good chance that that shot is just going to slide right down their thigh. Especially since that back thigh is usually straight. So you're just going to go boom and down. I mean, if you come in good enough, you can have high success with it, coming there. I find the hip much better for a simple fact of there's a landing point. It's just like the shoulders, like if you're doing great sword and stuff like that, where your arms, where your targets are, you know, head, shoulders, hips. those are your landing points. It's the same thing with this crosscut, with my cross chop. So those are the 4 basic shots, or 4 intermediary shots that are successful. They work best off combos. Well, yeah, I would go with that. I mean, the wraps you can throw without the combos, but they definitely work better off combos. The armpits and the crosscuts tend to work best off a combo or off a mislead. Like especially like the cross cut, you can either finish that and then across, or you can fake it and throw that wrist and come back across. I tend to like better. This was the fact it's a real shot. So it is what it is. I tend to like to throw more real shots than I do fakes. Most of my fakes, if anything, are just pump fakes. If I'm throwing a fake, so it'll be this, back up to there, something like that. Those are my fakes. I don't do a lot of, like you'll see what it's called a Malnay. So you miss your opponent on purpose with a wrap, or what looks like a wrap. You come back to that. Or what some guys like to do is this down to there. Which if you watched my video from fight video from last night, I actually tried once, just because I was like, oh, what the hell, let's give it a shot. But those are your basic shots. Those are your intermediary shots. I'm slaughtering that word, sorry. So, when you're working on the wraps, go a little wider than normal than what you're going to end up doing when you finally get your body used to the shot. Get your elbow and arm used to that. Remember, always have a little bit of a bend in your elbow. Don't hyper it, or you're going to be sitting on the sideline with your arm underneath cold water. Leg wrap's the same thing. Armpit. Okay, the camera angle on this sucks. So armpit. That is the front leg version. Thumb lead, back edge version, which can go here, here, here. If you're tall enough, you can actually get to go back here on righties and lefties. It tends to surprise righties a lot when they get hit on that side, because they're not used to getting hit there. Then your cross cut, you can either slide it through and go to the front, go for that leg, the left leg lead. So we're going for that bite right there, usually right around this area, the thigh, because a lot of guys either don't have armor there or barely have armor there, so it's a good bite into it. Or the chop into the hip / body. Just according to how much you get someone to move their shield over. But that's those shots. I hope I showed something. I'm sorry for some of the bad camera angles. They kind of sucked. I tried to work. Probably should have moved the camera a couple times. I didn't. If I don't really like this one, I'll probably take it down. I'll put it up. If I don't like it though, I'll probably take it down and redo it and just move the camera to different angles so you guys can actually see it. But that's that. Now I'm going to go into doing my pill work for the night, since I got to work on my new shield style, and that's about it. Sorry if my voice sounds a little weird, coming off of the reason why you guys didn't see the video last week was came down the flu 2 weeks ago and was still recovering last week. So actually, I guess it might be 2 weeks since you guys saw a video. I think I had a Pell video, but I didn't have a class video. So, but that's that. Have a good night, and thanks for watching.